I'm good. My internet is so trash at work, so it took me a second to connect. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
So how is everything? I like to ask everyone how they're doing because we're in such a weird space this year.
Yeah.
So how's
I
everything going mentally?
I've been enjoying life one day at a time.
Hmm.
Just, reing up on production and writing and staying in touch with family. I got a quarantine dog. So
Really?
yeah, yes. So
Oh, what
yeah,
kind of
so I've,
dog?
I've been good. A Bernedoodle. He's a
Really?
Bernese Mountain Dog mixed with a poodle. So I'm allergic to pet dander, and
Okay.
so this is one of the hybrids that aren't. They don't have fur. They have
Okay.
actual hair. So yeah, I know it's like weird, but yeah.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm excited because I think in my doing this, you're the first person I got to talk to from DC because I'm from the DMV too.
Hey,
Oh
let's
yeah, I was
go.
excited
Let's
about that.
go. This is a special one. This is a special one. Let's go. Let's talk that
Yes,
talk.
and I will.
Now, where are you from in DC? I gotta ask.
So I'm a PG kid.
Okay.
I grew up in Clinton,
Nice.
along other
Yeah.
places, but Clinton, Maryland.
So what high school you go to?
McNamara. And I was going to talk to
Okay,
you about that because I was
okay.
so pissed. I read that you went to Duke Ellington and
Yeah,
I wanted to go there so bad, and my mom was down for it. And so,
yeah.
like, I think one of her coworkers went there and talked her out of it, so I ended up in McNamara. So,
What?
yeah,
That's
I was.
crazy. And not Suitland, nothing like that, because that was more artsy than
Well,
McNamara.
actually, no, McNamara ended up becoming like the only Catholic school that had a performance arts program, so it worked out. And
Didn't know
no,
that.
I'm a Catholic school kid, so
Oh, okay, well, praise
my
God.
entire life.
All right.
My entire
Praise
life.
God. Yeah,
So she
yeah.
wasn't about to let me go to Suitland.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. One time for the DMV, my brother went to Crossland, so he's like,
Okay.
yeah. So my peeps are actually out in like the Clinton, Temple
Area.
Hills-esque area, yeah. So
Okay, so how is everything? Are you in LA or are
no,
you
no, no, no,
in
no. I'm on the
Atlanta?
East Coast. I'm not in DC. I'm not in New York. I'm just kind of like I'm in Philly.
You're
I'm in Philly.
floating? Oh, you're not that far.
Yeah, I hadn't really told anybody that like I've been living in Philly, but I've been enjoying myself out here.
Okay.
Just really kind of like hearing a lot of like stories. One of the biggest things that really inspired me to come out here was just like me being a entrepreneur and becoming an independent artist. I needed to start somewhere new and somewhere fresh. And so, shout out to Miss Deanna Williams. She was kind of like my PR prep. Like, you know how like when people kind of coach you in the way
Yeah.
that you're supposed to speak or talk or whatever.
Yeah.
So she was that for me like years ago. And so she really kind of put me in touch with just like certain people from the scene. And then it just kind of expounded from there. And, Philadelphia's international sound started here. So it's a lot of creativity here. It's just, shout out to David Dwayne. Yes, PR strategist for sure. Yes. Just yeah. So it's really been cool, and it's allowed for me to really dive into the whole Audacity series and finish that off and just kind of, be in my space, and before COVID, I was still able to travel and move about. So yeah, it's been fun.
No, I get that because like I'm located in New York and I've been
Yes.
here for what feels like forever now, but
Yeah.
not that long. And I want to talk about that because I saw you took a hiatus from
Mhm.
music. What caused that?
Getting off my label. I didn't want to take a hiatus, to be honest.
Okay.
It wasn't like it was a choice. I didn't have a choice.
Mm.
The thing was that, when you ask for a release, that's like you breaking up with somebody before they were ready to break up with you. So it
It
was
kind
a
of shoved to
very
you.
like, yeah, it was like, okay, well, you want to leave? All right, we're gonna take some momentum off of you first to just kind of
Mm.
make it a little more difficult. So for me, truthfully, like as soon as I was done with, I think I released an EP called Drive. That was my last release on Motown. And like literally within me finishing that, I was 50% done with Audacity um already. So I had already did like thing called Love and a lot of like volume one already. And it was just really about just like fighting the good fight and making sure that I was lawyered up so that I got out of there without any scratches, bruises, and you know, just making sure that my integrity was still intact. You know what I mean? Above all, so I'm grateful uh, for Motown actually, you know, allowing for me to you know do my thing. So you know, shouts out to them for
Yeah.
releasing me, even though it took a little minute, but we here now.
No, I understand. Like
Yeah,
that whole situation can get real ugly. 'Cause I work in music too,
yeah,
so like I
yeah,
know that I hear horror stories, so I can
yeah,
only imagine.
yeah.
So what has it been like? So like now you don't have this big machine behind you. You're
Yeah.
independent. You have more freedom, but it's
You know, I honestly, you know, I had an expectation, but I knew I was starting at zero. You
mhm.
know, that's the truth of the matter. Like when you haven't like released any music for like 2 years, you're starting at zero. So I knew, you know, with the indie that I wanted to partner with someone who had uh momentum as it pertains to just like you know their finger on the pulse and just understanding like okay if I don't have major labor dollars then what can I how can I best use the dollars that I have as a writer as a producer the money that I saved up now I'm putting it into my own business but I needed just a distribution company shout out to Empire you know to say I think that you know your money would be best served here or allow for us to put you in you know into cahoots with you know, these people over here. So it was a really great connect to have. And so now, you know, we just celebrated our 1 year of being in business as far as our Society Music Group, which is my company. And yeah, we have over 15 to 20 million streams as far as within the
Okay.
first year. So as an independent
That's
R&B artist that
good.
hasn't put out a record in, you know, in 2 years. That's pretty good. You know what I mean? And so now it's you know year two, and I'm gearing up for a new project or a new album for 2021. And so you know I want to raise the stakes. You know, make better music, deliver it in a better way,
Hmm.
better visuals. Just you know, just making sure that I up the ante. You know, I know my worth now, and I know what I can contribute. And I think that was one power that I didn't have on a major that I do have as an independent. Now, don't get it twisted. It is more difficult. It is more difficult, but and shout out to HD. Thank you, man. But yeah, it's a lot more difficult. But the thing is that at the end of the day, knowing your worth and knowing what you bring to the table, and actually having to build your own table when you're not invited to it is a lot more valuable than it being, you
Given
know,
to you.
just given to you. Yeah.
You said something that I think is really important is like you didn't understand your worth when you were signed to the label. And I feel
Mm,
like a lot of artists go through that because it
mm,
takes them years to realize that I am this valuable person. I
mm.
think it was I didn't read it, but like I remember hearing an excerpt from Mariah Carey's biography and how she talked about like she didn't understand her worth, and when she finally did, like how she just like made this like amazing deal with Columbia to get like her rights and all that shit. Like what?
Yeah.
How did you learn your worth? Like what did it take for that to happen for you?
To leave.
That's what. So after you left, you understood it. Before that, you
I
didn't.
well right before that was the reason why I left is because I
Okay.
understood my worth. But I think it was because you know I watched so much unsung and like read into like just music history that like I seen what was going to happen like years before.
The
You know
horror
what I mean?
stories,
So it
yeah.
was like, you know, it was like, hey, what, you know, like, you know, my the guy that brought me into the label, he had left, in a way where it was like, okay, well, you know, you don't necessarily have concern of my well-being or where I stand as a creative.
Hmm.
So that told me everything that I needed to know moving forward to say, okay, this may be the time for you. Because honestly, I was ready to just like do my bid. I was going to do my 3 records, or do my 3 albums, and be done. I didn't want to leave. But God presented an opportunity, and I was like, I don't know if I should jump or not, but you know, you're revealing this to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask for my release. And when I asked for it, it gave me time to set up my LLC and understand the inner workings of it and find a team that believed in me and that understood what I was delivering, not just music wise, but just as a creative. as a whole. So it was that timing. So I understood my worth right around the time that I asked for it, like maybe a maybe a month or two, or a couple of months prior to like asking for my release. But then it was just kind of like the stars aligned, and it was like it's time to go. When Stevie Wonder leaves a label, and he was supposed to be a
Yeah, yeah,
lifetime artist.
yeah, yeah. You know shit ain't right.
Stevie Wonder leaves the label, not no, but like I said, shout out to the label, because at the end of the day, they're making smart moves in the sense of they're moving with the culture.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I'm not here to like ish on nobody or whatever. That's not even in my, what I mean, my steez, and that's not the energy that I'm trying to bring. But what I will say is that they just moved in a different direction, that, what the company stands on, it just, it wasn't that. And like I
yeah.
said, when Stevie Wonder leave, they got to tell you something, goddamn it now.
Yeah,
So
I know that the focus as far as music has like, transferred more to like the hip hop side, which
yeah,
brings us to like that Young and May tweet that happened a few months ago about
yeah.
like how music there's like barely any R&B. And how do you feel about that as R&B artist? Because like I know there is R&B, you got to dig for it.
Right, yeah.
And it's there are a few platforms for it that showcase it. Like I work at one, but like it's I guess it's hard because it's like adult contemporary R&B, so like new R&B has to push through that. So like
Mhm.
how are you battling that?
It's not a battle. It's just
Okay.
everything in the song right. Because when you battle something, you're forcing it, right? It's a force. It's a conflict. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to let the moment be. You know what I mean? So for the genre, I think we're in a great space. We're in a space where it's underground. It's not the main thing. So for those who do break into a mainstream, then it's like it's that much more gratifying. But it's much more responsibility on you to uphold. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
do the thing. But honestly, because we're underground, some of the dopest music in the past 15 years have been made. You know what I mean? So uh, I don't mind it in the sense that like everything revolves. You know what I mean? Everything comes back around. So the genre will have its day in the sun again. It's just about who's gonna be there and who ain't.
Yeah.
Who it's a marathon. Who has the dexterity? Who has the endurance at the end of the day to survive it? And that's what we're looking at. I think it's cool when people have moments, but how long can you hold on to a moment? And when the moment is over, how are you going to maneuver? How are you going to transition? You know what I mean? Outside of that moment, this ain't about being a star. This is about having a career. You know what I mean? So,
And that's so important because a lot of people can't maneuver to that next thing. Like they
mhm.
they they just see point A and they can't really maneuver to point B because they didn't think that far. And you're right, there is a lot of fire R&B. R&B is like my favorite genre ever.
Mhm.
That's mainly because like where we grew up, soul and all that. 'Cause I tell people like I didn't really get into hip hop until probably when I got to college because
Yeah.
everything was just R&B was just fire.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking to that, like, what do you want your legacy to be? Because you're talking about longevity.
Um, I mean, on the creative side, I want for people to, you know, respect my signature creativity. You know what I mean? As I go through the journey, that I was fearless, that I was audacious, that I wasn't able to, that I wasn't afraid to try new things. But then also, on a business level, I want for people to look at me as a budding businessman that paved the way for a genre that maybe not had a we don't have a blueprint for R&B as indie R&B artists. I think that there's a lot of artists that are out there that are paving their own way, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And then once you pave your way and you find your way, and it's like, how do you reach back and you do it for someone else? you know, and you continue to build that. And that's what I want to do. I want to, go through all of the hardships, if I need to go through the pitfalls and the drops and all that stuff so that the next person that I believe in, hopefully I can help them to avoid some pitfalls, and then they'll pass down the knowledge to somebody else. and then it'll just continue to keep going and going until the machine has perfected itself, or the blueprint has, perfected itself in a way. So, that's what I kind of want to be remembered as, somebody who was willing to give, a teacher, a creative, a lover, a fighter, all that good stuff.
I love that. So how has your music changed since the release of your first EP, Dialogues in the Grave, to now? Like, I
A
know, like
lot.
life happens, but like writing style, music style, subject style, like how has it all changed?
A lot.
You
A
gotta go
lot.
more
A
in depth
whole
in that.
lot. Now I know I will. Listen, come on. You're dealing with a person that loves to talk. All right. I have my
Okay.
own show, by the way. But
I know the mashup. We're gonna get into that
yeah,
too.
yeah. But honestly, hmm, hmm. How do I? Okay, so Dialogue in the Gray and the Awakening, I was still trying to find myself, and I think that you heard that in the music, even would be great, the first record from off of was Awakening, and I said I'm scared to jump, I'm scared to fail, I'm scared of you, I'm scared of myself. Of what is life if I can't be great, right? And so that kind of allowed you to look inside of a window of like a window into my mind, into my emotions and how I felt, the insecurity, the fear that I had. It was tremendous, that I needed to create some anthem, for
Hmm.
myself. I wrote "Be Great" for me as a reminder. And the question, like the first thing you hear is, "Do you want to be great?" And I'm glad that it inspired a lot of people. But most importantly, it had to inspire me every day. And I needed to hear it. I needed to hear it in my own voice. Just the power of affirmation through song is something that I'm very proud about. But like I said, I'm still fearful. I still had a lot of doubt. And I think what Audacity shows is my growth, my inhibition to really go into the genre and create this spectrum for myself, to say I feel like there's nothing within the genre that I can't do, or that
Hmm.
I can't write, or that I can't produce, or that I can't create. And that's what I wanted to present in Audacity, and I did it in a very bold way. I started off with a ballad thing called Love, which everybody's like, well, why don't you do like an up tempo? Like, why don't you do, whatever? And it's like, well, this is how I feel. This is what I want to do. This is what I feel writing. You know what I mean? So I didn't back down from that. You know what I mean? And as an indie R&B artist, we called ourselves a top 20 R&B record, at radio, so, well, it could have been bigger than that, but, funding was like, we
Yeah.
had
Yeah. I understand.
funding was a little funny, but, that makes me proud, you know what I mean, that we did that. Yeah, so I think that's the difference, is just confidence. Um, of course, like, upping my level of musicality throughout the years. The more that I learned, the more that I picked up, the more that I put into my music. So that's why I'm very excited even about, every project that I do. I think that from Drive to Audacity Volume 1 and Audacity Volume 2, those three projects I'm very proud of, because I took all of the cooks out of the kitchen, and I really started to cultivate a sound and just a fluidity that I'm very proud of, as it pertains to like sequencing, which I learned a lot of sequencing from my mentor, Troy Taylor. And I just put my own twist to it. I put my own spin to how I want things to be sequenced. Sequencing is very important to me, because I know how people listen to music. You know what I mean? So if you put on Audacity and you never heard of me, you never heard of a project, I want it to feel like an experience. I want you to press play, and I don't want you to feel like you have to go out of your way to then turn off a song
Hmm.
because it doesn't fit the vibe, right? Um, so that's what I really like hone in on and pride myself in. So, I think as I get older and as I sharpen my tool a lot more as a creative, you'll start to see even more growth and progression, not only as a writer, but as a producer, and just a overall, just like a conceptual thinker as well.
So before we dive into Audacity too, I just want to talk about like applying vulnerability into like R&B music because I've seen a live from another artist and they've talked about how hard it is to like get vulnerable and put themselves out there within their music because a lot of people fight that. Did you ever have
Mm.
to fight that when writing your music? Like, how open do I want to be right now? Or
Yeah, I definitely fought with that for sure. You know, how, especially like because I'm a man and like men in R&B right now, like I'm not saying that it's
y'all
scarce,
not
but it's like
vulnerable in R&B like back in
like
the
yeah,
day.
being a vulnerable R&B man right now is like, you know, it's far few and in between. Um and like you'd be a fool to think or believe that you know women run R&B. Like the top R&B artists are all women. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so, you know, that's what was missing. Because when R&B did have its day in the sun, kind of the last, like the sunset was all male driven. And it
It
was
was.
all like, girl, I'm gonna do this to you, oh, blah, 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 boom, bam, whatever, right? And so, like, I think that everybody just kind of got tired of it. They kind of got tired of the same, like, just like delivery, the same concepts, just the same shit. And it took women to diversify it. You know what I mean? So uh, that really kind of like put a jolt back into the genre, and it forced, um, you know, especially men within the genre to be like, damn, well, maybe I should be more open. But then you get this where like, how do I deliver this message in response to what a SZA may say, or what Summer may say, or what a Ari may say, or whatever, where it's like everything that you're saying isn't, you know, I can combat that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like there's a man perspective too, where we can answer your question, but then sometimes, you know, you're like, well, we're R&B men. We don't want to deter our female audience away with what we have to say. So I think, you know, we may overthink it in that way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? But I mean, even with Audacity Volume One, I have a song called Honest, and I think, you know, I tried to put it in a as much of a sweet and delicate but honest way as possible to say, like, you know, when a woman says, "Would it kill you to be honest?" It's like, yeah, it probably would. Like, I lie because I love you, and you definitely lie because you love me. So it's like, if truth isn't there, then this shit would get ugly, and that's honest. If we're being honest, there's a threshold. You can't take certain things, or I can't take certain things that, you know, that may be in your past or that may be on your mind. So at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we have to just check the parameter of like, or the barometer of, you know, how honest do people really want it? You know, certain things that I may want to say, like Long Song Away, uh, which is one, I guess, like one of my popular records, is really about just me, like, it's like, yeah, be patient, but it was through frustration. You know what I mean? And that song could have been delivered completely different. To be like, yo, chill your ass out. Shut up, calm down. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't that deep. And I took it a different way to say, you know what? You can, you know what I mean? You can still deliver that aggressive, frustrating message in a love song and slow dance to it. And so, you know, everybody got their own way. You know what I mean? Of saying it. And I just think that for me, that's kind of a way that I've discovered to deliver messages to my fan base and to women without them trying to kill me.
No, because I will say like R&B has definitely changed like within our lifetime from like, you know, what was it? Ray J's One Wish outside crying in the rain. She had one wish to Trey Songz Scratch You Up. Like it is, you know, or
Mm,
yes, no, maybe whatever. Like it's changed. Like the whole
yeah,
level of it has changed a lot.
yeah.
So what I want you to do is I want you to pick three songs,
Mm,
three of your favorite songs. You could have written it or co-written it off of Audacity Volume
mm,
2, and let's
mm.
talk about them. So pick one song right now.
One song off of Audacity, what, volume two?
Yeah, so we're going to go to three songs, but what's one of your
Okay.
first songs?
God is a Genius for sure. Yeah.
Why this is okay, the very first song off
Very
the
first
EP.
song. Yeah,
What
yeah.
about this one?
It just feels great. It feels great. It has a great, like, like if you ride in your car, no matter what season it is, it just puts you in such a great mood. Um, it's a great blend between my R&B background and my spiritual background as well. I'm proud of it because it's another record that I co-produced.
Mm.
So that puts me in a driver's seat. Um, it's just a great feeling record, and I'm very proud of it. It still puts a smile on my face to this day.
So what was the inspiration behind this?
Honestly, it was a conversation that I had with one of my guys, E Miles. He was responsible for a lot of Trey's hits. In like the heyday Trey, like Ready and Bottoms Up and all that stuff, right? So
Hmm.
he's the writer and producer of a lot of that stuff. And so I just did the track with my guy Sherrod, and I went upstairs because we were in my mentor's house, and so he got studios everywhere in that house. And so I went upstairs to the studio that E Miles was in, and so he listened to the track, and he's like, "Man, God is a genius." And I was like, "That." And I was like, "That right there, that." And I was like, "Let's ride on that." And he's like, "Well, how are you gonna flip it?" And I was like, "God is a genius." Like, let's talk about a relationship. God is a genius. Me and you wouldn't be here. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that everything is divinely aligned. So, we went with that, and it worked, and it worked out. You know what I mean? So, number
So it
one on
has like a
Sirius
double
XM. So
meaning.
it
Yeah.
has a double meaning. It has a lot of layers to it. But most importantly, it feels good. So it's not something where like people could be like, damn, like this is going way, way above my head. So you can still enjoy it. Yeah.
Second song.
Second song that I like from off of Audacity Volume 2 would have to be Overthinking.
Okay.
Overthinking.
That's a really good title because everyone does. So what
I
about this one?
I wrote and produced that song at the beginning of the pandemic,
Okay.
um, because I was legitimately, in the process of overthinking everything.
Hmm.
And so I was like, well, what about my tour that I got coming up and these shows and this and that and this and that? And I was just like, let me just sit my ass down and just, this ain't something we can overthink, right? So I'm like, okay, that put me at ease. Just that melody and just kind of just being in a vibe. And like, I really didn't overthink the process of creating that. And so I was like, well, if this makes me feel good, then I hope that it'll make other people feel good. You know what I mean? I was like, it ain't gotta, I ain't gotta put in, that we was in COVID or anything like that. I was just
Hmm.
like, I just want something that can just be very pleasing to the soul and into my heart. And like I said, because I wrote and produced it, it allowed for me to, step out even more on that creative aspect. I enjoy co-producing and co-writing or whatever. Uh, I'm very involved in the process of creating anything that I do. But when it's just me in the room, uh, and you come out with something that actually works, uh, you like you did that, and that's going on the project for sure. So that's one of my favorites. Yeah,
I
and
go ahead.
I'm sorry, no, go.
No, go ahead. Go finish.
And the third, I guess.
Oh wait, before we jump to the third.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So going back to like overthinking and everything that was happening at the beginning of COVID, like how what do you think was gonna happen like when you realized you were like a few months in and stuff wasn't going back to normal, especially like music industry wise. No one
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
touring, didn't know if projects were dropping, didn't know how to maneuver in the space. Like what was going through your mind about like this musical journey and this musical career for you?
I was like, thank God I saved. Like that's that's the only thing that I kept thinking about was like, I lived in LA 2 years prior to me moving here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it was a very like interesting time because like my career was just starting to ramp up. So like Long Song Away started happening. I started going on more tours. Like my debut album finally came out. Like all this stuff started to happen. And like I still had the car that I bought in like 2012, right? And so they like, Kev, like, get a new car, bro. Like you can't be riding around here. You know what I'm saying? Like in your Acura TL. And I was like, well, that ain't broke. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like at the end of the day, I was like, I got nothing to prove to nobody. You know, I was like, I don't spend most of my time in my car. I spend most of my time in my house. I spend most of the time in my studio. I know where to spend my money. But at the end of the day, I was like, I ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. I was like, we gonna pull up to where? We gonna pull up to the studio, and I'm gonna get out my car and what? That's the thing that you're gonna remember most about me is the fact that Kevin pulled up in a you know what I'm saying, in a Maserati. You know what I'm saying? Or Kev pulled up to the club, because at the end of the day, I'm still in transit. I'm still going to this place to make a memory. So I'm like, I just think a little different. And so with that being said, I've saved a lot of money, like a whole lot. So when the pandemic started getting real, my gratitude really kicked in, because it was like all that time that I felt like, well, you know, trying to figure out what I need to spend my money on, or, you know, maybe I do need to, you know, show more of my success or the work that I put in, and that, you know, it's not just money coming from the artistic side of Kevin, but I've worked on NBC Songland, or I've, you know, done records for Star or Empire on the TV side, sync licenses or whatever. So it's like, you know, I've always been like low key was like, yep, thank you, I appreciate it, thank you. Yep, nothing's changed, nothing's changed, nothing to see here, right? So now, you know, where it's like, damn, you know, it's like I didn't feel the pressure. I never felt the pressure, and but then also then I could help my community as well. I could help the people that were close to me that may have been in a bind, or that may have been, you know what I mean, whatever the situation was. I had the financial freedom to not worry about that, and then I could say, you know what, let me finish up Audacity Volume 2, or let me finish up Audacity Complete, which is coming out next month. But um, you know, those were the things that like I was so grateful for. So I can go into the next year and say, okay, like however long this thing going last, like now I just, you know, I know how to stretch. I know how to make it work. You know what I mean? Like that's that. So I encourage artists and just people in general, like, you know, you're not saving out of fear, you're saving because of the fact that if there is nothing worth spending your hard-earned money on, hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. So, you know, my mom's taught me that, and then just being broke taught me that too. You know what I'm saying? Like starting off in my career, you know, if I've put 10 years in the game, me starting off at 18, 19 years old, um, if I put 10 years into the game and I was broke for 5,
Yeah.
I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to not have. I know what it feels like to struggle. I know what it feels like to eat ramen noodles or cereal or these like crazy ass like portioned meals, because it's like I gotta survive. So when, you know, when you do get money, you know how to save it. You know, I didn't come off as this quick success, or, you know, whatever. So it wasn't like I had this abundance of money to be foolish with. I knew that it could come and go, you know, and to have and not to have. So, you know, when I prayed to God, I said a prayer, and my prayer was different. I said, you know, it wasn't about like how much money it was. I said, you know, God, I don't never want to have to worry about money ever again in my life, ever. I don't ever want to worry about like how am I going to pay this bill, how I'm going to do this. Like I just need for you to provide and supply what I need, not what everybody else needs or what they expect for me to have, but what I need personally in my life. You know what I mean? That prayer hit different. And from the time of 2014, 15 to all the way till now, I never had to think about it. You know what I mean? In that way. And that's not, I say that not a braggadocious way or anything. I just never, because like I said, I'm focusing on me and what I need and what I desire. And I'm a minimalistic man, so I don't need much to survive. You know what I mean? Like for my birthday, when people ask like what you want to do for your birthday, I be like, man, I just want to sleep in late, eat some food, I don't do nothing crazy. You know what I mean? So, it allows for me to, live how I want to live. And I'm grateful for that. Thank God for that.
That's a whole sermon and blessing right there. All right, the third one, song number three.
Yeah, damn. Can I just say that, like, Volume 2 really came together like quite nice, and I'm very proud of Volume 2. And I'm proud of each and every song.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I will say I do slash options is a bop for sure. Um, I like that record. Co-written, me and Breland, who is another artist, who's killing it right now. Um, yeah, it's just such a fun record, man. It's like, and then we go into options, which is a whole nother thing. So it's a vibe that I really enjoy creating, and it seems like people are enjoying it as well. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that.
So what was the process in making this one?
Um, the crazy thing is, I had options when I was creating Drive. So I had
Okay.
options since like 2017. Sorry. And I have records like that, just kind of like just around, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not time yet, or like, let me, I don't know what to do with this. This is weird on its own, but this may be dope to put, after a record. So that was one of the records where when I finished I Do, which was more recent, that I was like, I didn't like it feeling like it was like this happy like love song. It was like do I do do, and I was like, I don't like how this sits in my spirit just to kind of end like this, right? And I was like, nah, let's like, I need something dark. And then I went into the transition mode, and I was like, okay, let's add these little parts. Let's bring it right into options, because it's still, options is a love song. It's just a darker, cooler feeling love song
Mm-hmm.
than I Do. And I purposely did that because, when people try to like hit me up and they're like, yo, I got a song for you, the songs always sound a certain kind of like way. And I was like, I hate the um I guess the misconception, or the energy that they think that I deliver on songs. So like, they were like, I got a song. They were like, girl, let me take you out on a date. I want to marry you. I want to make you my wife. I want to marry you. And I was like, no, that's not. I don't think that's the energy that I bring on record. but that's what consistently comes in. And so I'm like, I gotta change that. You know what I mean? Like, and I gotta change it in a way, like sonically, how I deliver things, it could still sincerely be from my heart, but I'm like, if this is how I come off, then let me adjust from that. And I see the comments Jay never said talking about. She was like, nah.
Someone said, "What's the inspiration behind it?" And I'm just gonna guess it's just like, you're just showing both sides of who you are.
Yeah, man. I mean, the first line I say is, you say you through with love, and I'm trying to see who broke your faith. You know what I mean? And as much as like I could
That's a
have
strong
started,
line.
thank what thank you. I do my writing here and there. We do our thing. But lines like that, where it's like, that's how I wanted to start the record, because that's what I kept running into, especially like in this age bracket. You know what it is when women get from 26, 27 to like 30. I don't know when it ends, but I'm a pray and hope 35, 40. All right. So around this time, it's weird because you're experienced a lot. You've gotten your heart broken. You probably dealt with some ain't shit dudes. If you were curious and playing on the same team, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You probably tried that. You've done things in your life, and so, and then you come across somebody like me, and you like, I just don't trust it. I don't trust that you're a good guy. I don't trust that you have in these true intentions because I've been broken by this person, or you remind me of this person. It's like, that person ain't got shit to do with me. How you know what I mean? That's like me coming into a relationship and being like, this woman cooks. I'm like, you know what? Your cooking remind me of Anita's. Your cooking remind me of. I don't trust it. Crazy women know how to. It's like, no, I can't do that. And so I'm like, I need to make a song, and I need to address this head on. You say you through with love. Well, I'm trying to see who broke your faith, and to try again or take too much energy. Took all this time and it ain't meant to be. These people in relationships for 5 years, 6 years at a time, and then the shit is over, and you like, I'm exhausted.
That's a real thing.
But you still want love. You exhausted, but you still want love too. You got to figure it out. Don't accept.
It's called therapy.
It's
called therapy.
Come on, it's called therapy. It's definitely called therapy for sure. But don't accept me and say, I like him. I'm going to give him my number. I like him. I'm going to go out on a date with him. Several dates. And then, because you lack therapy, that brokenness doesn't allow for you to open up in any kind of way. So it's like, okay, well, waste my time then. I don't know, but, shout out to everybody talking about therapy.
If someone said that to me.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I just think that has to deal with people like just not wanting to feel that same, emotion again. Because a lot of people don't want to go through that again.
I don't like rainy days, but the motherfuckers happen. They happen.
They do happen.
I don't like thunderstorms. I don't like hurricanes. I don't like tornadoes. I don't like none of that.
No one does.
But it happens, right? These are things that are out of our control. Certain things in life are out of our control. So for me to expect from a woman, I can't expect for a woman to be perfect. You know what I mean? I can't expect that. I can't expect for them to not have insecurities. I can't expect for them to not have to work through certain issues. But you have to be willing and vulnerable enough to say, I need work. I need to work on me, because I can't do it. Yeah. I'm not Dr. Ross. You know what I mean?
I will say that's hard for a lot of people. A lot of people, it's hard for them to say they need help and to seek help, and they just think someone else is supposed to, build them into a better person. It don't work that way, but a lot of people feel that way.
I understand, listen, and for people who watching, I know you're tired. I know you're tired of dealing with the same old shit every day. I know you're tired of dealing with the same old men or women, whatever, because there's guys out here that feel that way too. I know you're tired, but it's not them. It's you. It's you. And I just want to take the time for everybody to leave and get mad. It's you. It's not them.
Because you're the common factor.
You are the common denominator. So go ahead and get you some help. Get you some help. Talk to your pastor, your mama, your father, your auntie, whatever. But it's you. It ain't them. You can't keep saying it ain't no good men out there. No, that's not true.
Maybe you just ain't a good woman, and you just need to figure it out. It's not like
I didn't say that.
No,
You said that.
It's not like you're not a good woman in that sense. It's just like mentally you're not all the way there. And it's also the same for men. It's just like maybe like there's no good woman. Like maybe you're just not. You're not at your best. Like you're at 20%, and you're trying to find somebody that's gonna fill the other 80%. It don't work that way.
Exactly.
You gotta be 100 and 100.
Exactly. If you at 20% and a woman's at 80, it's a disaster from the get go. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing that I want for people to understand. Some people just gotta admit like they have bad taste in lovers. You know what I mean? Like I've had terrible taste in lovers. I mean, by far horrible taste. You know what I mean? But it was something where it was like I needed to say, all right, hold on, let me take a break. Let me pause for a second and figure out what it is about me and what I need to be clear on. You know what I mean? What is the things that's fooling me? What are the things that like get me going? Is it legs? Is it breasts? Is it, you know what I mean? What is it that drives me? And then to say, okay, if that drives me, is that the thing when I get attached or I get devoted? Is that the thing that keeps me there? To say this is toxic, but the sex is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's how
you
toxic
know,
people stay in relationships.
that's how toxic. That's the reward. When you get into an argument with somebody, you like, I can't stand you. I damn near hate you. And you get in bed with them, and you be like, you know what,
That's that
we
baby
can
boy
work.
shit.
We can work this out.
That's definitely that baby boy shit.
we gonna figure. We gonna be all right. We gonna make it. Because if you keep doing this in this boudoir, we gotta make it. There's no other choice, and that creates toxicity. You know what I mean? So when I had to get past that, that was my kryptonite, was what a woman could do to me. And it was like, once I understood that, like, you know, that I had control and I had power over that and over myself too, and that self-discipline, then it allowed for me to see clearly, to say, okay, if you take away that incentive, then who are you really, who's there? You know what I mean? Who am I speaking to? Like who, you know, can I trust this person? Is this person going to be able to handle, you know, all of my musical endeavors? Is she confident enough to handle that? Is she able to understand like the different streams of income that is coming in? We get a family. Is she going to be able to understand how to say, okay, like here's a master, sync licensing, how much are we charging for it, X, Y, and Z? Because if I'm not around or if I'm dead and gone, you know, I want to make sure that the hard work that I'm putting in, that I can pass this down or entrust this to the woman that I love so she can pass it down to my children and grandchildren. You know, the Michelle Obamas of the world, the Coretta Scotts of the world, the Betty Shabazzes of the world. These are strong and powerful women that made sure that their husband's legacy, keep in mind, especially the latter two, Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott. The reason why Malcolm and Martin's name lingers and rings on in such a profound way, it's not because of anybody else but their women, because they were shot down or cut down in their prime, you know. And so they could have easily said, well, they're not here, and it could have been, well, I need love too. Let me marry somebody else. Let me do this. But they understood that the mission was bigger than that individual, and the mission then was endowed to those strong Black women. And that's a very rare thing to find. But it's rare to find, you know, on both sides. It's rare to find men who have that strong of a purpose. And it's rare for women to be that loyal and dedicated and to understand when something is bigger than them, or vice versa. Because, you know, a woman can have a destiny and a purpose that's just as big and gigantic, for sure.
Okay, so on that note, we're gonna wrap up because
Yeah.
my phone about to die.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my joint about to die too.
Oh
Thank
no,
y'all
it was
for
so good. No, that was such a good conversation. But thank you for talking with us on Where's the Buzz and
Yeah.
dropping gems and words. And yeah, I think everyone enjoyed it. Any last words before we go?
Thank y'all for your patience. Thank you guys for hearing me talk. I know I talk a lot, so and thank you for, you know, sharing your platform. Shout out to Where's the Buzz. Make sure that you check out Audacity Volume 1 and Volume 2, and then we have Audacity Complete on the way next month. 6 live records of, you know, singing stuff live, and of course a couple of new records. So, you know, this really ties it together. And then you know, I'll be on my way to creating the new project. So yeah.
And
I'm
before
excited.
that, someone wants to know, when's your inspirational YouTube channel dropping?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I like to talk, so I don't know, man.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking with us, and I hope you have a great day.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right.
Where is the buzz?
Oh, yeah.
Where is the buzz? You said
We used to be a
was
singing
mine,
group.
oh
Oh,
mine.
where